even though Meri and I really don't have a real relationship, my conscience really dictated that I went and spoke with her about the property. It wasn't to create drama. It was just to make sure she was aware and could be educated going into the situation.
She doesn't trust me because she would screw me if she could. That's what I believe. Okay, and I'll be honest, I've thought about screwing her. Okay, so I'm being honest, but I won't. My wife with a conscience won't let me.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Well, this is an interesting development. Remember, we've been talking about this whole situation with their property, the Browns property, Coyote Pass. It is a section of about 14 acres that's outside of the city of Flagstaff, near the National Forest, and also right on a pipeline. Yeah, part of their property actually has a pipeline going straight through it. The pond property, yeah, there's a pipeline there. Either way, their division of this property is a huge problem. And Kody and Robyn apparently created this plan where they were going to screw over Meri and Janelle. And Kody actually admits that he planned on screwing over Janelle. And I don't want anyone to think that he wouldn't screw over Meri. I mean, why would he screw over Janelle and not Meri? Make it make sense. Especially because Meri has the least amount of title being held on these properties. And also, these women are either very naive about property and purchasing, or they are ignorant, or they just honestly believe that Kody would do the right thing. But the way they describe how this purchase was made makes no sense. And I had an opportunity to grab the documents to see if everyone signed, and it does appear that they did, and I'll show that in a minute. But check this out.
Like just making sure that we're all covered. And in the property situation, I'm like, well, your name is on the property. Like my name is on less property than hers. I'm only legally a third owner of one of the 4 parcels.
Now, I give Meri credit for having this conversation with Kody, and I recognize that in the future coming up, they do get together and take on Kody and Robyn. What I don't love about the situation, though, is that Janelle went to Meri and had a conversation with Meri and shared her concerns and tried to let Meri know what was going on. And Meri went to Kody and Robyn and told them what Janelle said. And obviously, what Janelle said is going to upset Kody because he's going to view that as some sort of betrayal and trying to get someone on Janelle's side, getting like lobbying to Meri, like, let's team up together so that we get what's right. And Cody's going to view this as like these two are going to try to screw me, right? In reality, Janelle's just trying to let Meri know that legally speaking, she doesn't have rights to what she thinks she does. And I think this is why Meri isn't safe, because if you want to express a concern to her and just come to her as a friend, she'll turn around and tell Kody, and Cody's going to use that and weaponize that against Janelle. I know that doesn't matter in the long run because Meri eventually comes around and works with Janelle. But this is, I think, when they mean Meri's not safe, this is why.
So I own the least amount of property. I don't understand why the property got divided the way that it did. I was not involved in that process. I was just told about it after the fact.
Listen, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a real estate agent. I did work in the finance world and in the mortgage world for 4 years. And I will tell you what I used to tell any person that was on documents for whether it was a mortgage or signing a title or whatever when it came to real estate was, do not sign any documents you do not understand. Do not hand over money for a property unless you understand the terms. Do not give someone money on a wink and a handshake and a nudge without a contract that specifically states that you are entitled to what you believe this money you are giving to them entitles you to. Never give anyone money without legal records protecting you so that the money that you put in is accessible to take out. Otherwise, when things do go wrong, and they almost inevitably do, you're protected because she is stating, I didn't know why this was done the way it was done. I just found out about this after. She did sign the purchase agreement. She signed the warranty deed. So she knew what she was signing when she signed it, and she knew that there was other people on it. She knew there was other parcels. There could have been conversations at that time, but I think everyone at that point was so checked out, they didn't really care. So again, don't sign anything that you don't know and understand the terms.
The names on the properties were just temporary until we paid it off. And like nobody made that decision except for Cody. And we were just told about it later. And I was like, why did you do it that way? And he was just like, I just had to make a decision really quickly. I was just trying to, I don't even know.
So Robyn Brown is completely full of crap because all of them signed warranty deeds. And a warranty deed, according to Google, is a legal document used in real estate transactions where the seller grants to the buyer that they have clear title to the property and the legal right to sell it, essentially protecting the buyer from any future claims against the property's title. It's considered the most secure way to transfer ownership of real estate, ensuring the buyer won't face unexpected legal issues with the property after purchase. The properties that they purchased were purchased with a warranty title, the ones that they had because they paid cash for it. Okay. I don't know why Cody decided to put people on the property the way that he did. What he did was he put Christine on a property with Robyn, and he put Meri on a property with Janelle. And then Janelle ended up on property by herself with Cody, and Robyn ended up on property by herself with Cody. Why? And on the parcels that Robyn and Cody were on, and Janelle and Cody were on, those were not purchased with cash. Those are the ones that they took out loans against. And then without the signatures of Meri or Christine, Cody took out loans with the seller and used Meri's property and Christine's property as collateral. This deal should never have gone through without every single woman understanding the terms, the conditions, and how this all went together. They all needed to understand that how they were on the properties, that property was being used as collateral, and that if something were to go wrong, they could lose their investment if they default. Can you imagine in any other scenario where you're on a parcel of property and one of the owners says, I'm going to use this property as collateral and you have no say? And you're like, what? Do you think if Meri would have known that her property was collateral, she would have been okay with that? Right? It was stupid. And then because of this stipulation, they couldn't build on any of the property because how it basically worked out is the owner said, you can't build anything until all of this is paid off. And if you don't pay it off, I'm taking all of it. And then on top of it, you also cannot build, and you can't build a single family home. This is only for commercial use as long as I have the title. It was a horrible transaction. And I want to be clear, none of that was a temporary decision. A warranty deed is not a temporary document. That's not temporary ownership. And because Cody has no legal ties to the women that he's on these titles with, outside of just being owners on this property, they have no grounds for community property with him. So it's just not, it was a bad move for these women. They really got screwed, and Cody knew what he was doing. Robyn says she doesn't know why he did it this way. I know exactly why he did it this way. He did this so he could encumber or, tie up two women, Meri and Christine, who he thought was going to leave him, and make it so it would be really hard for them to leave, and that they were going to give him money, and it would be hard for them to leave because the property that they gave him and that they're a part of is being used as collateral. It's so he did this intentionally. And Robyn saying that she doesn't understand, she's full of it.
I know that Cody's name is on every single property. I know Robyn's is on, I think, 3. So they own the monopoly. And I hope that they will be fair, and I hope that they will be honest, and I hope that it doesn't get ugly.
In fairness here, Robyn only owns 2 pieces of property, and she actually signed a document fraudulently. Kody likely made her do this, and the document is illegal because there's under no circumstances are we to believe that Kody has separate income from Robyn and that their income is separate and not joint. Kody had Robyn sign a fraudulent document. And why this is a fraudulent document is because Arizona is a community property state. And he had her sign a document that stated that the property was sole and separate to him and that he purchased the property with assets that were not marital assets. But that doesn't work in the state of Arizona. When I looked this up on a law firm, there's no such thing as separate bank accounts or separate assets in a community property state. So I want to explain to you what he did. He had Robyn sign a deed over to him that stated that the property that he owned with Janelle was separate to her, that she claimed no ownership in it because this property was purchased with money that wasn't hers, which is not how it works. So she signed a document that said the spouse has acquired the following property situated in Coconino County, to wit, the property above described is the sole and separate property of the spouse having been purchased with separate funds of the spouse. The undersigned has no interest right, title, interest, claim, or lien of any kind of nature whatsoever or against said property. This instrument shall constitute a waiver by the undersigned in favor of the mortgagee, deed of beneficiary, or deed of trustee, and to the right to file a declaration or claim of homestead affecting the above described property. It is executed not for the purpose of making a gift to the spouse, but solely for the purpose of clearly showing of record that the undersigned has and claims no interest to the said property, the undersigned expecting third persons to rely on this disclaimer. It is the express intent of the grantor, being the spouse of the grantee, to convey all right, title of interest of the grantor, community, or otherwise. So she signed a document that said Kody used money that wasn't ours. And that's not how it works. Any property that's purchased in the state of Arizona while you're married, community property. The only way it would be not community property is that Kody purchased it before he was married. It was received as a gift. She said it wasn't. It was an interspousal gift. Gifts from one spouse to the other are considered separate property. Separate gains on separate property, so rents, interest, and appreciation, or property acquired after a petition, meaning after a petition has been filed for divorce. So separate property can become commingled with community assets if community funds are deposited into a marital bank account, or the account may be considered community property. And here's the problem. In the state of Arizona, and purposes of divorce, according to a law firm, Hildebrand Law, located in Arizona, even though Robyn signed that document, legally speaking, a judge could not view that as separate property of Kody. And the reason why they can do that is because if Robyn and Kody were to divorce, Robyn could claim that community property from their bank account that they own as a married couple, even if her name is not on it, was used to pay it off. If Kody used any of Robyn's money or any of their money to do maintenance, to put in, upgrades, to finish the property, any of it, then it can become community. So this is what's called a lien in sole and separate property. So it says, although a judge must award each spouse their sole and separate property, the community may have a community lien in the sole and separate property of the other spouse. Making payments on or improving the spouse's separate property with community funds may create a community lien. For example, sometimes people will choose to live in a home owned by one of the spouses before the parties are married. That house remains the separate property of the spouse who owned the property before the marriage. However, using community funds to pay the mortgage or improve the home may result in a community lien against the house. Also, the community may have a lien against a spouse's sole and separate business if the business increases in value or produces more income than before the marriage. So, even though he's claiming that no money was used for that property, if any money of their joint accounts are used to pay off this property, then Robyn can, if they divorce, have state that she has a community lien against that. And so then that will screw Janelle out of a portion of her share. So this is really just all done fraudulently, which is again why I think lawyers aren't involved. Robyn signed a document just like this for both Meri's property and Janelle's property. So at any time, they're at the will of Robyn that she doesn't divorce Cody and doesn't then claim community property was used to pay off the property. They have to trust that Robyn and Cody would abide by that document they filed fraudulently, which again, there's no such thing as sole and separate income when you're already married and you buy a property. And according to that law firm, bank accounts, even if they're independent and they don't have the other person's name on it, they are often not able to say that they belong to that person because money often from the community will commingle. Robyn signed these over so that Meri and Janelle would feel like protected, but at the end of the day, they're not, because if Cody and Robyn got divorced, she could file liens on any of his sole and separate property, and she would. I know she would if they got divorced. And so right now, while she only has two parcels that she's on, that's still more than Meri. And they do own the monopoly on this. And they have all of the leverage to completely screw these other women. And those women don't have any legal leg to stand on at all. And that's why Cody knows he can screw them. And that's what this entire move to Flagstaff was about, ladies and gentlemen. It was about screwing them to get the money because he knew they were going to leave and he wanted to make sure that he got the money. And he bought property knowing full well he was never going to build there, because if he was ever going to build there, he never would have purchased a home with Robyn. It makes no sense. If he was ever going to build there, they would not have purchased Christine's home. That property was never going to be developed. And he knew that. He wasn't naive. He wasn't ignorant. He wasn't thinking optimistically. He knew it. That's why years ago, he said that an investor told him that they should just sell the property. He knew that they were never going to ever, ever, ever build on it. And now, what are they not doing? They're not building on it. And what does Cody now threaten to do? Now that it's paid off, by the way, it is paid off. Now he's threatening to not sell it. And again, and legally speaking, they don't have a lot of legs to stand on. Even if they were to go to a judge and say, we're going to force the sale of this, they're still only entitled to what they're currently on the property titles of. They're going to have to find a way to negotiate with him, and Cody's going to have to swallow his pride. And I just do not see that happening. And this is why Christine said that Cody will not be fair. He won't be. Christine was the only one that was smart in this entire situation. And it's ironic because everyone in the family made her feel like she was dumb. So really, is Christine dumb, or was she really undercover smart? And the rest of them were more easily bamboozled than Cody. It's sad, really. But that's a pretty sinister plan by Cody and Robyn, honestly. The whole thing. It's all disgusting. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Bye, everyone.